Welcome to this special edition of The Market Maven, wherein, for the first time, we are stepping outside our usual turf. For this episode, we flew all the way to US soils to cook up something that's hopefully useful for our American friends, especially as they vote for new leaders at the midterm elections. The survey question is, in a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you about the future in the US and why? So we wanted to get a measurable score to identify an average confidence level for the future of a given population, and it is intentionally open-ended so as to accommodate as many or as broad perspectives or substantiations as possible on the rating given. Just to cite some limitations, so we have sampled only 2 states on the western side, which is California, particularly in San Francisco and the Silicon Valley area, and on the eastern part, which is New York. From each of these 2 states, we only asked 32 survey participants. So a total of 64 respondents may be too small of a base to cover an accurate representation of the whole country's opinion score, or maybe a base of 32 may not strongly reflect an entire state population's consensus, but we have a statistically readable base per state, which assures us of sound, valid indications. So, to give a background on our sampling representation by gender and by age breakdown, here's the profile. And let us proceed to the results. On the good end, there are more among the surveyed who remain optimistic about the future and the country. So both states exceeded the average rating of 5, particularly an average of 6.72 out of 10 in California, and an average of 5.83 out of 10 in New York. So let's go to substantiation. Let us find out the underlying reasons why people surveyed in the US rated their confidence level for the future in the country as such. Let's start with the highly confident. 59% in California and 55% in New York responded with a confidence level score of 7 to 10. Based from their supporting answers, we find the numerous reasons why they're confident.
Like a
not
7,
satisfied at all.
because I don't know, big things happen, but it doesn't really affect my life very much. So I'm confident that I will be okay.
I think I'm doing fine. My cohorts are fine. My peers are fine. We're in our liberal bubble.
So for my personal future, probably like an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I already have like a bunch of job offers. But I'm just waiting to decide which one I want to choose.
Okay.
8.
8. Okay.
Because I'm employed and I see others being far employed.
I would say it's like around a 7.
Around a 7.
And I'm saying that because maybe I'm lucky enough to just have a good job right now.
Honestly, despite the climate, I'd say like maybe a 7.
Maybe
because,
a 7?
I hang out a lot on the internet and I see the way the young people think and act,
Okay.
and the way they view the world, and they're the ones who, despite what's going on right now, give me hope that things will maybe not turn out too horrible.
I would say 8 because I'm a teacher and I teach high school, and my students are so critical of the world around them and open-minded. They just fill me with hope every day.
Economical, I see a great future because a lot of young people right now are eager to work, and they want to make a lot of money.
I feel like maybe this young generation now, they might, there's a lot of us that maybe they're not that good, but we have some that are like, intelligent, and we're going to make this country better.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're definitely, the education system is obviously a lot better than what it used to be. Our kids are definitely way smarter than they are now, back then in the day. So I feel like our education is pretty good.
I guess an 8?
8? Okay. Why?
Because
Is it this little one? She's the one that gives me my confidence in the future.
Okay.
Probably 7, only because I do believe that there are enough good people, no matter what side of the polarization that has been conjured up with this presidency and our government in general. I still believe there are enough good, decent people that will make it work somehow, some way.
7 or 8. 7 or 8, okay. Why?
That's my gut feeling.
Okay.
And I think people have some intentions to make it better. So I hope that will be reflected in economy, politics, and near future.
Like maybe 8.
Okay.
Because some people are good at, I guess, doing things that are good for this country, but it depends on what, like, let's say people are willing to do good things, like get good jobs, pay their taxes, all that.
7.
Okay.
I think right now it's a little worrying because there's so many issues.
Okay.
And with politics and social problems. But I do think that we have a lot of reasonable, smart people.
Just people in general, and just people I've met in school seem to really care about moving forward and advancing.
Okay.
I'm probably pretty confident. I think we have enough diversity that we sort of bubble up the best of what's to offer. So in terms of solving any problems that we have coming, I think someone will bubble up.
Okay.
If I were to contemplate something in the US, I would rate it at somewhere like 7 or 8.
Okay. Why do you say 7 or 8?
Well, I'm pretty confident that the US is a very it's a large place with a large palette of different career paths and opportunities that you could take. So no matter what I choose, I feel pretty confident about the fact that there's probably a place for me somewhere.
I see. Okay.
I would say it's between a 9 and a 10.
Between a 9 and a 10? Okay,
Very
high.
confident about my future in the U.S. I've lived in many places around the world. I've definitely, I would say I have visited a few places that I haven't lived in. And I would say, for the most part, in the U.S., there is no one preventing you from doing anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you have ideas, if you have a vision, then there are more people that want to help you.
Okay.
Than want to prevent you, from doing something, especially if it's something that helps society, create something new and exciting.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what makes me confident about
it. Yeah, I mean, I think we have a rough few years to get through, but, it's all going to work out in the end.
In case I'm very optimistic.
Okay. Why? And what's the rating?
Things usually straighten themselves out eventually. And we've been around for a long time. We're not going to kill ourselves off that quickly.
Okay.
So things won't change that much. In this country they will, maybe more conservatively. But things will eventually work out. They always do. And you have good times and bad times. That's the whole thing. You go back in history, you have wars, peace. Keep going back and forth, But we live in a very volatile time. And it's difficult for people to get along, especially in this country, given the political parties and the excessive tribalism we have. Okay. But worldwide, we don't have any major wars, world wars. There's no world wars. There's conflict around the world, but we're always going to have that.
Okay.
Human nature is to fight. And there'll always be people that do things that other people don't like.
So rating, 1 to 10, 1 not satisfied, not confident at all. 10 is very confident.
No, I'm very confident that the human race will be around to destroy itself for a very long time. So we're working on destruction. We're not there yet, but we will be there probably in who knows? Maybe the environment will go first, and then we'll all burn ourselves out or something, or the floods will we'll all become fish again.
So it's a 10? just a number. I need a number for the computation.
Within my lifetime, I would say an 8.
8, okay.
But after I'm gone, it'll keep going. After you're gone, it'll keep going.
I feel a firm affirmation that the United States is still going to be on top.
I'll say like an 8.
Okay.
I think like the U.S. has the largest, strongest economy in the world right now.
In other terms, I think in technology-wise, we're advancing, and science, I think we'd probably advance.
Now, let's take a closer look among those who are not very confident for the future in the U.S. What are their reasons? And from the survey responses we got, we took note of various reasons, and here goes.
So I think cost of living is a big issue that gets in the way of prosperity for a lot of people, and I think that can affect the future. So that's why I give it that's probably why it's not a 7 or an 8 or a 9 or a 10, because it's harder for people to get ahead than it used to be.
Yes, I would say 4.
4, okay. Why?
And the reason is I'm tremendously concerned about environmental issues and the administration that we're in, just tearing them apart at every level.
Okay. Anything else?
I mean, in my understanding of the world, everything happens in the natural environment. The economy, education, crime is all fundamentally related to the natural environment.
Okay.
So, whatever happens to our air and our water and our land and the things we eat determines everything else.
Okay.
So that's where my greatest concern is.
I feel that we don't focus enough on education.
Okay.
And it makes me worried that we are basically don't have a generation of children that are being well educated to take over the U.S. And I think some of that is reflected in some of the politics that we're seeing. That they are not believers in science.
Okay.
And as a scientist myself, I feel that science plays an important role in any country's future.
Yeah.
And we have a country of people who deny climate change, who are against vaccines, and these are things that will have very severe and serious consequences for any country's future. And I think part of addressing that is making sure that we think of education as important and we put resources towards it, For a country of our stature compared to a lot of other countries of similar stature, we don't invest enough in education. So I don't feel very confident until things like that are fixed.
I see. Okay. Thank you so much.
And why? I'm terrified. Why?
I'm terrified. Yeah, why?
I feel like the U.S. is a very volatile environment to be right now. I'll be honest, I'm not very aware. Politically, I'm not very involved politically. I should probably do something to change that, but I don't know, it just feels very dangerous. It feels like a lot of people are angry about a lot of things.
4.
4, okay.
Because the level of trust in institutions feels to me like at an all-time low.
Okay.
Lack of trust in the government, in the presidency, in the Congress, now in the court, and in the church. And I do not see how we as a society lacking in trust move forward from here.
I gotta say like a 3 or 4.
Okay.
Just the rate everything is going now, even everything that's going on with the midterms, with Trump, with Kavanaugh, being voted into office, it's a circus. You know what I mean? And people can laugh at it, but I'm totally serious.
I'm zero confident.
Zero confident. Okay, why?
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
Zero because politics are too confrontational. People need to learn to just discuss issues rather than treat the other side as some kind of an enemy or devil.
Okay, there we have the views from the opposite side. What's interesting is that some of the possible solutions forward are offered by some of the participants themselves.
Discussion, division, derision, whatever you want to call it's good. It's good if people, have disagreements, and that's what we've always been. We've never been a country that tries to conform people to all think the same way. So I think that people think with all the political, division, I think it's good.
Okay.
I think it's good to it just gets people talking, and as long as people are willing to listen, I think we're going to be okay.
I think that, in general, right now everything's very divided.
Okay.
And so I think that at some point, it needs to switch, and people need to start collaborating a little bit more. And then once that happens, I think we'll sort of be rebuilding a lot. So.
Okay.
Put myself at a 5.
Okay.
I think we're doing a lot of things right, but I don't think we're doing enough things to stay a world leader or even lead the world in the right areas, whether that's in environmentalism or even in the education space.
Okay.
And if we're not leading in education, we're not growing future leaders.
Okay.
I also think that we've done a lot to damage our current reputation and the way we work with other countries, and that is a setback in itself, because even if I look at the way we work day to day, in our jobs, in our families, there's so much value that comes out of collaboration, and we're kind of struggling with that right now.
Okay. Anything else?
I still believe in the good of people and the good of the U.S., and I think, with the right changes, we can move it up from a 5.
Okay.
I would say probably I would rate it 5.
5? Okay. So yeah. What are the factors?
I think the factor I set it to 5 is because I would say it's 50-50 chance.
Okay. So what are the negatives? What are the positives?
It's a huge question of that probably involves the whole history of creating a nation and how they proceed in the future. Now, unlike the many other nations around the globe, United States as a nation, the idea was a bit different. It's people from different other states in the globe came to this land and built up a whole nation, and in an attempt to merge them into one single nation, which is a mix of different nations. And I think the success would highly depend on how all the situations can tie them up.
Yeah.
To force them in future.
Okay.
And it's always, to me, it's always 50-50 because there can be issues grown up between the races that came in one land, and as long as they probably have a structured environment, it's all good. Now, the question is when it will be a challenge. And it's probably more diverse than right now than before, 100 years back or 100 years back. It's more diverse races are coming together.
Yeah.
And to me, that could trigger new issues that hasn't been in the past, and that could be a challenge for this country. And then there's the where there's a 50-50 call. Very hard to predict. That's why I say 50.
Okay. So, okay.
Alright, that's the way.
Alright.
I would say I really believe our Constitution has a lot of wisdom in it, and we have to actually now apply the wisdom.
Okay.
So it's a very dangerous thing, because then you get into interpretation. And when you have people who are more set on greed and power than they are on what our forefathers had in mind for us, it gets very milky there. And that's, I think, where we are, is we're finding that there was a lot of fear around this last election with, oh my God, you know, what's going to happen? And what we found is that we have a beautiful system of three parties, not three parties, but three different levels within, you know, the judicial and the executive, etc. And it works.
Okay.
And that's beautiful.
Okay.
People are interpreting that in really wild ways now, and it's getting very convoluted, kind of like the Second Amendment. People say, oh, you have a right to bear arms. It's like, that actually isn't what it was written, that wasn't the context it was written in at all, but no one's going back to that, we're taking it this way. And I think context is very important today. So that would be my thought, is I really do believe our Constitution is brilliant. It's incredibly written. But what I would say is it's being interpreted in the most creative and strange ways I've ever seen and manipulated, and I don't like that. So my hope is that we can get back to a respectful and a level of government and the like politics that is based in integrity, because it's gone way far away from that, I feel, right now. And there's a lot of, you know, it's our side versus their side instead of how do we work together to make the country better.
Okay.
So the next person who runs for president that I would put my vote behind needs to say country first, not party first.
It seems that given what we've gathered, there's a path forward, and this midterm elections is a good first step. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Do watch out for our upcoming episodes. Should you have topic suggestions, please let us know in the comments.